Hello! So in today's video, as you can see in the title, today we'll be talking about how I originally failed the NCLEX the first time and then now passing it the second time, and just to share my story on how you can hopefully prepare for your NCLEX and not do what I did, but hopefully find the right tips and tricks to make sure that you succeed. So just to give you a little bit of insight about myself, as when I was a nursing student, I was not a straight A student. I did get a few C's, 3 C's to be exact, and I did want to let you know that just because I did not do super well, I still graduated nursing school because I'm a nurse now, and I graduated with like a 3.48 GPA, so it's pretty standard, but I was someone that really wanted to learn everything. I didn't want to simply memorize things, regurgitate what I was learning in class and trying to put it on the exam and things like that. And I found a lot of the things I learned I retained through a lot of hands-on experience, being more active and taking initiative during my clinicals, and that's how I felt I succeeded, because that hands-on experience really reinforced the learning that the classroom material, just itself cannot do. I also do want to mention that along with my learning in time in nursing school, it was more hybrid because of all COVID, but the program I was in was also just a hybrid program to begin with. So we had a lot of online learning, a lot of asynchronous learning, as well as a few in-person things. But again, majority of the learning that we did for classroom and didactic, as they say, was purely online and recorded lectures. But aside from nursing school and things like that, I also felt like a lot of the things that really helped me prep for the NCLEX were a lot of the things post nursing school and being able to really just learn how to tackle the exam, because yes, you should know information, but I feel like for me itself, it was just tackling how to do the NCLEX itself. And so a variety of sources were used. So the main resources that I used were Kaplan, which our nursing school had us use, the Mark Klimek lectures, UWorld, Archer Support Review, and I also used Your Nursing Educator's Content Review Guide, which I found actually super helpful in terms of studying and prepping for the NCLEX. So as mentioned before, I did fail the NCLEX the first time. And so a lot of that had to do with a lot of lack of preparation, not being able to understand what the questions were really asking, and overall just feeling not as prepared, because there was also a lot of life things that happened right before my first NCLEX date. But again, that's, life happens. And so even Mark Klimek says that expect everything to just go wrong right before your NCLEX exam date. And unfortunately, that saying really lived to its true meaning, because that's what happened. Everything just hit the fan, but that's okay. But yes, so I did fail the first NCLEX at 145, so I was basically near passing standard on everything. When I was preparing and studying, I did use UWorld, and I felt that the questions were very, very hard and challenging, which again, it's really great because it does amplify your use of critical thinking skills and things like that. But I think for me personally, just answering these questions at such a high level, not being able to digest the questions, made it very hard for me to just do well in general. Secondly, when I was listening to the Mark Klimek lectures, of course I listened to it. They're all over on YouTube and wherever you want to find them. I did listen to it, but unfortunately I wasn't as in tune, or I wasn't being as attentive or involved in the listening process and truly understanding like what he's talking about. And so I really felt that hindered my ability to do well on NCLEX the first time as well. Generally, I spent only a few hours per day, about for a month, prior to my NCLEX date. And again, I just was not involved as I should have been. I wasn't as in the zone as I should have been, because I thought, I can handle this, easy peasy, right? But again, that was a poor mindset. And so again, you learn better. And I did not, again, prepare as much as I could have, but that's okay. You learn and you make mistakes and you do better next time. But again, I think the thing that really made it harder when preparing for my first NCLEX was that my car had broken down, or at least my partner's car had broken down, so I had to travel back and forth from San Francisco to Sacramento to get my car. My partner was also on call that week for his job, and so it really messed up both our sleeping schedules, so I just did not get enough rest for that week. And then in general, there were a lot of things and factors that made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm not ready for this right now, but I decided to just go for it anyway. So here we are, and that's what happened. Huh?
Or kung mo sa diary na lang of your NCLEX.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kuma also, my dog Kuma was also very sick that day. So definitely made it harder. And long story short, I did fail at 145, which basically meant I was near the passing standard in every question. There's the whole 8 sections that you need to pass to be above passing standard in order to pass the NCLEX. And only 1 of the 8 I was above passing standard, and the 7 of the 8 I was near passing standard. So just being transparent and authentic with you all to show you that, again, I was there, but not as there as I needed to be at the time. Thankfully, I have very strong support systems. My family, both my family and my boyfriend's family, were very supportive of me and have been able to help me throughout this whole entire process. My partner himself, Lawrence, has also been super supportive of everything. I think because of him, I was able to cope through this entire challenge of the NCLEX deal. And so it's really great to know that if you do fail, make sure you just take time to cope. Take time through the whole process, because it's not easy, it's hard, and I think just going through it alone just makes it even harder, and I think that's what made me stronger in the end. Now, in terms of prepping for the second time for the NCLEX, I definitely had a better feel for what the NCLEX was asking, because when it came to my day of the exam, so obviously I was referring to like UWorld as the main tool to study, I felt that the questions on UWorld were nothing like the NCLEX. I was so frozen. I just like, oh my god, what the heck are these questions asking? And it just was 2 different programs for me. And so I think for me, in terms of studying and prepping, I needed something that was more exact like the NCLEX, so that way I knew what to prepare for, what to look for, and things like that. And so for the second time in terms of practicing and studying for the NCLEX, so I used Archer and also your nursing educator's content review guide. And I think the most important part for me right here was that at this point in time, I really needed to better review my content, because I needed just a little bit of reminder, refresher. It was a little bit of time, a couple months after nursing school, so it was good for me to really understand like bodily systems, the nursing care, things like that. So really just taking time to go over everything in terms of nursing care, I needed to do that. Along with going through the content review guide, I used Archer, and personally, there are some questions on Archer that are a little weird in terms of studying and prepping for the NCLEX, but I also felt that the simplicity, the vagueness, and the way the questions were structured were so much more similar from Archer to the NCLEX itself. And so for me, for someone who just needs things at face value, I don't need things that completely trick me. And even though like the NCLEX isn't there to trick you, I just needed something that was exactly like it, very similar, so that I can study and work from that. In addition to practicing and studying the questions, my partner, who has also tutored in terms of just being able to digest questions, I needed to better understand what the questions were asking, because I think in hindsight, a lot of us get very anxious. We tend to overlook what the question's really asking and really read too deep into it. And so for me, having someone guide me through what is the question really asking and how do these answer choices relate to the question, I think really helped me a lot better the second time, because I wasn't overthinking it. I went more with my gut feeling, and second guessing myself, I just stopped that. So I think that's how having someone show me the ropes on how to just take tests and exams was really helpful. I also have to add that I'm not good at exams. I don't like tests. Tests are not my thing, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but I am someone who's a lot more practical. I like the hands-on experience. I've learned better that way, but you need to take this test to pass, and you gotta do what you can to get through it. You gotta play the game by its rules, as they say, so that's what we kind of did for the second time around. In terms of tackling the questions, instead of trying to answer questions in such big segments, I did follow your nursing educator's tips, which is answering sets of 10, reviewing it, and making sure you understand what it is you got wrong, the rationales, and things like that. So that's something that really helped me the second time around, being able to digest the questions a lot better. And by breaking it down in segments, it was easier to pace myself, and I was able to answer the questions in a much easier manner. And in between every 10 sets of questions, and if you all know like Super Tuna by BTS Jin, I use that within every 10 questions as like my little break, my little serotonin boost. I did like the dance, I sang the song in my head, even like practicing my questions and also taking the NCLEX itself. And I'm pretty sure the people were on monitors were like, what's this chick doing? But you know, I found a system that allowed me to break each NCLEX question apart, take a break, digest, rest, and then do it all again, which I really do believe helped me again the second time. Because of the new testing system that I incorporated the second time, breaking each question down to 10 and then taking a little break, 10, break, so on and so forth, I was able to tackle the NCLEX the second time much better. I did pass at 120, and so that's where I am. I'm here now working as a nurse. I work in plastic surgery now, and so I'm really thankful for being able to be here where I am now. And I think, you know, world's timing is everything. So I think even though it sucked I failed the first time, I think in hindsight I am in a better place because of the steps I took to get where I am. I think it's also great to remember that these life challenges are also here to just humble you sometimes. I think there's nothing wrong with being able to pass the NCLEX in 75 questions, but in reality, it's not everyone can do that. Don't feel so hung up on the idea that, oh my gosh, you didn't pass the 75, you're a complete failure, because that's absolutely false. I think as long as you're working hard, passing, doing what you can, investing in yourself to do well, then that's really what matters, because just because you don't pass at 75 does not mean you're a failure. If you pass at 145, you're great. You know, at the end of the day, you pass the NCLEX and you're golden. Overall, I think if you're struggling, if you're someone that is, you know, you failed the first time, just know that it's going to be 100% okay. It does not mean that you're a failure. It does not mean that you're not going to be a nurse. I want you to know that you can do it, and know that I'm cheering for you. I've known other people who have failed numerous licensing exams in their past and are still doing 100% well, if not even better. And I think, you know, we're all in the struggle bus together. So just know that myself and others are here to support you no matter what. Remember that even if you spent a few extra dollars to try and study, prep, get yourself ready, get yourself ahead, that's totally okay. I think the only worst investment you can do is not do the test at all or just completely give up. But, you know, just know that you can do it. Again, I'm here to support you and encourage you, just as there are other nurses out there that are feeling the same way as you. And know that nursing is a team sport, and anyone who doesn't support you or looks down at you for not doing as well the first time, just know that they are not the best for you. But there are people out there that are always going to cheer you on and going to support you no matter what. Even if it's taking a little longer, that's okay. Good luck to anyone who is taking the NCLEX soon, about to take the NCLEX. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. I am always and supporting anyone and everyone out there on this journey, because this crud is not easy. So if it were easy, everyone else would be doing it. So thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful in your journey, and know that, again, I'm here for you. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.